Welcome to the iPXE Anywhere Prerequisites Guide. In this guide we will be covering the prerequisites for 2.0 Software 2PXE Server and the iPXE Anywhere Web Service. The 2PXE prerequisites include Windows Server 2019 or above with Microsoft.NET version 4.8 or higher, Visual C++ Runtime, Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit, Administrator Rights. 2PXE must be installed on a Configuration Manager distribution point if using the Configuration Manager integration. The iPXE Web Service prerequisites include Windows Server 2019 or above with Microsoft.NET version 4.8 or higher, Administrator Rights, a SQL database and permissions, Visual C++ Runtime. Search for Visual C++ Redistributable and click on the link that says Latest Supported Visual C++ Redistributable Downloads. Scroll down the page and then click on the x64 version to download it. Once the download completes, click on Open File to run the installer. Agree to the license terms and then click Install. SQL Express. Search for SQL Express 2022 and click on the link that says Microsoft SQL Server 2022 Express. Click on the Download button. Once the download completes, click on Open File to run the installer. Click on the basic installation type. Accept the license terms. Leave the default installation location and click Install. Once the installation completes, leave the defaults and then click on Install SSMS. On the Install SQL Server Management Studio page, scroll down about halfway. Under Step 2, locate and click on the Download SSMS 21 link. Once the download completes, click on Open File to run the installer. Click on the Install button in the lower right corner. Once the installation is finished, restart the system. Create the SQL Firewall rules, install IIS and BranchCache. Open an elevated PowerShell window. Run the PowerShell commands from the documentation for creating the firewall rules for SQL. Next, run the PowerShell command from the documentation for installing IIS and BranchCache. Create the SQL permissions. Open SQL Server Management Studio. At the prompt, click on Skip and add accounts later. At the Connection dialog prompt, click No. For encryption, select Optional and then click on Connect. Expand the Security node, then the Logins node, then right-click on NT Authority System, and select Properties. Click on the Server Roles page, enable DB Creator, and then click OK. Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit. Run the ADK setup to launch the installer. Leave the default install path and click Next. On the privacy notice, click Next. Accept the license agreement. Unselect all features except deployment tools and click Install. Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit Pre-Installation Environment Add-ons. Run the ADK WinPE setup to launch the installer. Leave the defaults on the Specify Location page and click Next. On the privacy notice, click Next. Accept the license agreement and then click Install. Thank you for watching the iPXE Anywhere Prerequisites Guide. You are now ready to install PowerShell Server and the iPXE Anywhere web service. If you have any questions or issues, feel free to reach out to us.